Yo, what is the deal? What is the deal? What is good? What's good? What is good? Let some of y'all get through here real quick and we gonna talk about it. We gonna break it down. Hey, some good things is happening. Some good things is about to start happening. Well, not about to start. They already starting to happen. But we gonna talk about. We gonna break down. We gonna let some of y'all get in here real quick before we get down and get into it and really discussing all the good things that's about to start happening or if already in the works of happening with the Houston Texans. Like they say, hey, it's just some great things that they're coming across the horizon. Make sure you hit that like button when y'all come up in here. I see more people than jumped up in here. Make sure you hit the like button when you come through. Before we get started, let a couple more of y'all get up in here. We can get started. We can really get going. But make sure you hit that like button when you come through. Definitely make sure you hit that like button when you come through. Very, very important. You say, you see right here with Mike Evans. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I seen the Rockets. Yeah, I knew what you meant, bro. Yeah, I seen that Mike Evans is in the building. I mean, he from Galveston. I would not be surprised if Mike Evans goes to the is really thinking about becoming the Houston Texan. We're gonna talk about like I said. Okay, so we all seen the news last night. I forgot what time it was when it really hit, but last night the Houston Texans basically inked the deal and reworked the deal with both Bobby Slowick and Gerard Johnson, guys who were getting a lot of attention, a lot of interviews from other places. I mean, they were going to going to Atlanta, going to New Orleans, going to Pittsburgh, going to Washington, going to all these different places, doing all these different things. Possibly, potentially in the market, be able to get head coaching opportunities and offensive coordinating opportunities. But they decided to stay with the Houston Texans, and the Houston Texans did a very, very smart move, an extremely smart move by actually giving these guys extensions, giving them raises, probably changed up their title. I'm pretty sure Bobby Slow is probably going to be like an assistant head coach type situation, and then Gerard Johnson might be assistant offensive coordinator or passing game coordinator, possibly even running game coordinator with if he wants to, if that's something that he's good at, whatever. Something along those lines, and also getting the raise to let them know, okay, hey, these guys have got interest from other teams, but yet they decide to stay here. And I think this is even smart decision, even doing it when it was two jobs still available from head coach, especially with Bobby Slowick. The Seattle job, I'm not for sure if he even interviewed for the Seattle job, but I know he interviewed for the Washington job. I really thought that's the job that he's going to end up getting. Honestly, I really thought that was going to be the job that he's going to end up going to Washington. When I said that a week ago, when I thought, hey, that we might lose at least one of these guys. I never thought we were going to lose both of them, but there was a possibility that we could potentially might lose one. It was Bobby Slowick mostly, and I thought that he was going to go to Washington. That's what I really thought was going to happen. And for him to decide to stay with the Texans an extra year and not take the Washington job. And while the Washington job is still available, still out there, especially they didn't got turned down by Ben Johnson because Ben Johnson is staying in Detroit. It's paid, that's a very, very smart decision for the Texans. A very, very smart decision, I think, for Bobby Slowick, honestly. And I'm going to get to why I feel like it is a smart decision for Bobby Slowick in the long run. And also, I just think it shows exactly the timeline where the Texans are and how the organization's operating. And one thing, we got to get out of the mindset of years past because this is not the same old Texans. We showed you this a year ago by hiring D'Amico Ryans, which again today is the year anniversary of the Houston Texans hiring D'Amico Ryans. So we showed you this a year ago today that this was the same organization, and then they doubled down and backed that up later on in April in the draft, drafting C.J. Stroud number 2 overall, and then backdooring and jumping up from 12 all the way to 3 to draft Will Anderson to get your cornerstone pieces and your quarterback and your edge rusher in Will Anderson and C.J. Stroud. And then also got your head coach D'Amico Ryans. That right there showed you that this was the same old Texans and the operation was going to be different. And in the way that we went along the season, we did non-things like this is small, even though this really got nothing to do with the organization. This is more so with the media team. The way the media team was being petty when other teams were being petty towards us, the way that we were operating, people who got a chance to go to the stadium. Y'all seen the different atmosphere in the stadium from the way they played the music, the DJs they had, the whole Legends wall they got with all the cool stuff with the Andre Johnson and JJ Watt jerseys and things like that. Just the experience itself, the way that they was getting the Houston rappers and local Houstonars and doing all those things out there in the forefronts, having them at the training camps, having them at the at the practices, and also having them out on the field doing halftime performances and things like that. The marketing they were doing, with Toro, with the slabs and things like that. Just complete culture shift. And just the way we operate. This is not the same organization. Now that doesn't really have anything to do with the product on the field, but just to give a whole look at everything, we're operating completely different than we used to operate before. Now, fast forward, making a move like what we made yesterday by making sure that our OC and our quarterbacks coach, who CJ Stroud is completely in line with, who he has a relationship with both of them, especially Gerard Johnson, the quarterback coach. You had a relationship with him since CJ was like 13, 14, 15 years old. So he's known him for a long time, since he was a teenager in high school. He's known him for a very long time. And understand that, hey, we don't want our quarterback to go through all these different offensive coordinators and different systems and quarterback coaches and things like that. He's comfortable with these guys. These guys are hot on the market. Other teams, these guys are highly sought after. We need to do what we need to do to make sure we can keep them at I know something. You can't offer a head coaching job because you got a head coach. But we can offer you a bump in the raise, a different type of title, all these type of things to make yourself stay one more year, polish your game a little bit more, get a little bit better. Because I believe if CJ takes the steps that a lot of people, me and a whole bunch of people from the round table really think is going to happen in next year. Like we could see this payoff next year. I think that forget anybody else. Forget Ben Johnson. Anybody else? Bobby Slow could be the #1 coaching candidate next year. If what I think can possibly happen, what more likely will happen from the Houston Texans and CJ Stroud ends up happening, Bobby Sewell can end up being the #1 coaching candidate by far if these type of things happen. So it's a smart decision from him to come back. Got a little extra change. Ain't nothing wrong with a little extra change, a little pocket change in your contract, an extra little title as far as not head coach, but assistant coach, assistant passing game coordinator, assistant OC, whatever, between him and Gerard Johnson. And now we out here making real moves, because this is stuff that real good organizations do. And like I said, changing my mindset. We also got to come together, because I know some people are talking about how Mike Evans is at the game. Mike Evans might end up coming to the Houston Texans. He's from Galveston. He played at Texas A&M. The team is winning. Has a quarterback, and he could definitely come out here and finish up his career. I know a lot of people will like that, and do the same thing with the Derrick Henrys and the Saquon Barkleys and things like that. I wouldn't be surprised if the Houston Texans get a big name. And like I said, that's why I'm glad that CJ has been named to the Pro Bowl. I know a lot of people might not care about the Pro Bowl, say who cares about that? They play in dodgeball, nobody cares about the Pro Bowl. I'm glad that both him and Williamson both not only in the Pro Bowl, but they're at the Pro Bowl, because they're going to do some recruiting. Like you see the receivers and the corners and the linebackers, anybody, especially if they free agents or got a year left on their deal, they might want one way out, and they sit up here talking to CJ or sitting up there talking to Will Anderson, they're like, hey man, hey, what's going on in Houston? Hey, can I come? What y'all doing? Or like, hey, is CJ out here, CJ out here throwing the football with him? Like, hey man, you show, hey, you see how I throw the, see where I put the ball right there? See how I place it right there? You see how, you see that? Hey, man, you can get this every Sunday, bro. Hey, you can catch these type of passes every Sunday, bro. Go ahead, come to Houston, and you don't think that if some of the receivers out there, who's a receiver in the draft? I think like AJ Brown's in the AJ Brown and things like that. If you don't think of those guys like, hey man, I want to come to Houston. Hey, make it happen. And CJ go and tell D'Amico and Nico, D'Amico and Nick, hey, that player X, Y, and Z want to come down here, that they ain't gonna go out there and do it. You gonna sit up here and think that they ain't gonna go out and do it? You best believe that's what they gonna do. If those players want to come here, and CJ wants those players there, and he goes back and tell Nick Caserio and D'Amico Ryans, that's who I want, bring them here. They're gonna do everything they possibly can in a realistic standpoint, obviously, from if it makes sense, and bring those players along. So it could be a player like Mike Evans, but I wouldn't even just stop at a player like Mike Evans. Now, like I said, me personally, what I would do, I know a lot of people like Mike Evans. Mike Evans put up, I think his 11 years of 1,000 yards. That's great. It's wonderful. But part of that problem is he's already played for 11 years. He has 11 years of 1,000. He already has 11 years under his belt. How many more years do you think he's going to play? He probably will give you another 3 years at the most, honestly. To be completely real, give you another 3 years at the most. Now I would go and I think it would be a cheaper and for the same timeline and cheaper. I would go after somebody like Hollywood Brown, and I would put more of that money onto the defense side of football. Make sure you give C.J. Stroud and their offense extra possessions and short fields. That's how I would move. That's how I would operate it. But again, if C.J. will want Mike Evans and want Mike Evans to come, Mike Evans will come back home. Hey, I have no problem. Like I said, we signed Mike Evans, I'm not tripping. We signed Derrick Henry, I'm not tripping. We signed Saquon Barkley or what's his name, Jacobs, Jacobs from the Raiders. I would not trip. Do I want those guys? Those would not be my first option. And also, I think it also depends on the type of money that you give them to. That might be too much money. But I'm not tripping if we get those guys. Me, I will move a little bit different offensively. I would put more money on the defensive side of the football. And for some cheap little deals, I'll go get Hollywood Brown receiver, and I'll go get DeAndre Swift. I think both DeAndre Swift is cheaper than all those running backs that I just named, and also a little bit younger, and also Hollywood Brown younger than Mike Evans, and I think around the same age as T Higgins, but cheaper than those guys. So I would have to. You want to put so much money into those guys, and you can put more than money on defense, like I said before, and you can spread that money across defense and be able to get your defense stronger, be able to get extra possessions, turn the football over, things like that. Give your offense short fields, and then in the draft, which you can go out there and do in the draft, you go and add in a possible Kenyon Coleman out of Florida State or things like that with the pick 23. Because that's another thing too. We also gotta stop it. We gotta stop operating and stop thinking and acting like this team is still ran by Jack Easterby and Bill O'Brien. We gotta stop acting like that team that's gonna constantly let us down because this is a different mindset. I know we like, man, we don't need this. We can do this in the draft. We can do this in the draft. We got free agent cap money. We'll be able to spend as much money we spend. I think we're third or fourth in cap space in the NFL. We got the bread, and we not paying our quarterback for another 3 years. We got the bread. This is the time to actually spend money. This is actually the time. The funny thing to think about, this is actually the time to overspend. Honestly, if you want to keep it all the way a buck, this right here is the time to overspend because you got a free pass because your quarterback and your pass rusher, who's going to take away the majority. Those two guys, well, CJ going to take away damn near half of your salary cap space when it's time for him to get paid. If Williams is going to take up a big chunk of that because he's an edge rusher, he's a pass rusher. So a lot of your money is going to be going towards CJ Stroud and Williams because those two guys, those are what obviously quarterback is the highest paid position. Edge rusher is either second or third when it comes to getting paid. Because it's either them or left tackles. It's one or two. But protecting the quarterback and get to the quarterback, or second and third, respectively, behind the quarterback getting paid. Quarterback is number one. So you can be forking up a lot of money in the next 4 years on those two players alone. So the time to pay people right now to spend money is now. Now you can be smart with it and take that money, the money that you have, and spread it around evenly and get young players that you can able to keep. You can keep that as long as you got good guys who are contributing into that factor, and then you sitting there now. You sitting there good because you really have to spend that much money, and you still got the money to give your quarterback and to give your edge rusher. Because again, we sitting up here looking at teams like the Kansas City Chiefs or who else? Kansas City Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills and the Ravens and Lamar Jackson and Herbert and we talk about all those guys. They only have to pay their quarterbacks at that point in time. The Bengals. Now they had other players they had to play, but they have to pay a pass rusher at the exact same time. That's another. We got to think about that because when we pay CJ, the day we pay CJ is the same, if not the same day, around that same week. We're gonna be paying Will Anderson. Like Will Anderson gonna get paid somewhere around there. But when we pay CJ and Will Anderson and CJ, they're gonna be getting paid within the same month of each other. So you're gonna be paying and they're gonna be at the top of their position. I think when Mahomes signed this deal originally, I think Chris Jones did get a deal then, and I also think that Travis Kelce got paid too. So you have seen guys like get paid at the same time, and again we seen Mahomes take a deal that's like unprecedented. We talking about a 10-year deal. I mean, if we sign CJ to a 10-year deal, cool. But I don't know if he's gonna get that type of. I don't know if we're gonna do that exact type of deal. But that deal was a Kansas City Chief friendly deal, and they were doing it coming off a Super Bowl. So you are a little bit more inclined, to give up a little bit of something because you want to keep your team together, just like the Bengals and Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow, it was a little bit inclined to give because Joe Burrow could have got 300 mil if he wanted to. He wasn't gonna give it because he was trying to make sure that T. Higgins and both and Jamar Chase, especially Jamar Chase, stays in Cincinnati. So that's a kind of another different situation as well. But like I said, we gotta stop operating like we ain't got no cap space and like we're gonna do everything in the draft. Again, like I've been telling y'all before, we don't have the same type of draft capital that we've once had. The last 2 years, we've had 4 picks in the in the top 15. Two of those picks were in the top five. This year we have 1 pick and it's 23. We don't have the same type of draft capital, the same type of buzz, the same type of flexibility from a draft standpoint to handle things in the draft and to get cheap labor. We're gonna have to spend some money. And the thing is, we're a good football team with a good culture. You just seen, like I just said about Bobby Slowick and Gerard Johnson deciding to stay outside, going to go get jobs. I mean, Gerard Johnson could have went to Pittsburgh with all the coaches they have and Mike Tomlin. He could have went to Philadelphia, who was just in the Super Bowl a year ago, and made the playoffs this year. Bobby Slowick could have been the head coach for the Washington football team. He could have went to Seattle if he wanted to. But these guys decided to stay as an OC and a quarterbacks coach in Houston. Why? Because I feel like they feel like things are going to happen for them because they got that one at quarterback. I think if you do the right things around CJ for the offensive standpoint and defense standpoint as well, we're talking about a team that's in the AFC Championship game at least. We're talking about a quarterback possibly putting up 5,000 yards and over 50 touchdowns, over 40 touchdowns. Possibly could get 50. But we realistically talking about a quarterback that's getting you damn near 5,000 yards and damn near getting you 40 plus touchdowns. Definitely an MVP conversation type quarterback or MVP, getting you to an AFC Championship game, possibly getting you to the Super Bowl. Not Ben Johnson, but Bobby Slow will leapfrog Ben Johnson in that standpoint. The only way he won is if Jared Goff come out there and have a similar feed as well. But I think that Bobby Slow will leapfrog Ben Johnson. Bobby Slow will be the #1 coaching candidate next year. His name was buzzing now. Gerard Johnson's name was buzzing now. If CJ takes that type of step and goes and gets you over 40 touchdowns and 5K yards, and get you an MVP and get you to the AFC Championship game, possibly a Super Bowl championship, if not just a Super Bowl. You don't think that these guys will be top candidates? Gerard Johnson might not even be interviewing for OC jobs. He might be interviewing for coaching jobs because we've seen guys like Andy Reid and Mike Tomlin and other guys go from being like position coaches to being go from being position coaches to go out there and being actual head coaches. Not everybody has to be a coordinator. Everybody don't gotta be a coordinator. But I don't even think Mike McDaniels was a coordinator. I think Mike McDaniels was like a passing game guy or something. I don't think he was just a straight offensive coordinator. And sometimes guys only got to be a coordinator for 1 year, like a Vrabel, like a Kevin O'Connell, like a Matt LaFleur. These guys were OCs for 1 year, calling plays for 1 year. You see the guy from the Bengals wasn't even calling the plays and ended up being the OC. End up being the head coach for the Titans. So those opportunities, especially when you got successful on the offense side of the ball, which is our strength, which we have that guy quarterback, they're definitely going to be guys who get a lot of buzz around them, and it's going to be jobs next year. There's always a surprise fire, a coaching fire, and a lot of times it be Tennessee. Because Tennessee has done it 3 different times. They did this past year with Vrabel. They did a couple of years ago with Mike Mularkey, where after they won a playoff game and beat the Kansas City Chiefs, they fired Mike Mularkey, and then they did it one time with Ken Wisenhunt. Like Ken Wisenhunt got fired. There's always a surprise firing. Every year there's always a surprise firing. Then you also got the guys who you typically think going into the season on hot seats. I think like Doug Peters is going to go in the season in the hot seat. I think Nick Sirianni is going to go in the season as a hot seat. I think Eberflus is going to go into this year as a hot seat. Like it's going to be different type of guys going there. I wouldn't be surprised if Sean Payton goes into the season as a hot seat. That'd be a complete mess if they end up getting rid of Sean Payton after giving up a draft pick. But I think the way that mess is operating, I think this is going to end bad in Denver anyway. Like all the mess that they got going on over there, and this guy trying I think that's going to end up being. I think that Sean Payton is going to end up being similar to a Bill O'Brien type situation. A guy come in with too much control and just start messing stuff up, and he's going to leave the situation worse than how he found it. And because I just feel like that's what's going to end up happening in Denver, and they're going to end up moving on from Sean Payton. If not next year, within the next 2 years, by 2025, they're going to be looking for a new head coach. That's that's why I think that after the 2025 season, they're gonna be looking for a brand new head coach. That's how I feel. So this is definitely gonna be opportunities for the next couple of years. So it made sense for Ben John. It made sense for Bobby Slowick and Gerard Johnson to sit put and sit tight. And like I said, the Texans did a smart sit. I gotta give them a applause, round of applause. I gotta give them a hand clap for actually going out there and securing the bag and doing what good teams and good organizations do. And that's why I'm saying, hey, we gotta change our mindset how we feel, because this organization is doing good things. This organization is making right, logical, smart decisions. They're not trying to be the smartest person in the room. They be aggressive when they need to, like jumping up to get Will Anderson. That's being aggressive when you need to. Doing the logical decision, hiring D'Amico Ryans. The logical decision, taking C.J. Stroud. Being aggressive when you need to, getting Will Anderson, getting Tank Dell. Those are being aggressive when you need to, and doing the logical decision with C.J. Stroud and D'Amico Ryans. This right here is a logical. It's a logical and aggressive when you need to be doing this decision. Logical, making sure you retain those guys. Being aggressive, giving them extra money, giving them titles. I give them extra money, give them extra titles to make sure that they stay in the city of Houston. Make sure they stay at the very least another year, if not multiple years, because they got a good relationship and a good rapport with D'Amico Ryans and C.J. Stroud that actually continues to go on and actually get this thing rocking and moving in the same place, man. So I feel like they're gonna do. I feel like they're gonna target free agency the same way. They're gonna be logical when they need to, and they're gonna be aggressive when they also need to. And I feel like they will be more so. Me personally, I feel like they should be more aggressive on defense and be more logical on offense. And then when the draft comes around, you actually do the draft how you want to do the draft. But I definitely seen, like I said, like the tweets about Mike Evans, and that's not a coincidence. I mean, even though I know he's from Houston, from Galveston, it's not just a coincidence that he's just here. That he's just here. He knows what it is. He knows what it is to make himself known and appear and things like that. He's not a dummy. He knows exactly what it is. He knows exactly what he's doing. And hey, it is what it is. It exactly is what it is. Basically, don't be colored. Yeah, that's true. That's definitely true. But yeah, man. But like, it's like I said, I think, I think me personally, like I said, I think that's how I think they're going to be smart when it comes to handling the off season. I mean, like I said, now the thing is the organization, from everybody in the organization, they've earned our trust, and that's what I think we've been so reluctant to trust them recently, bro. They I feel like they completely earned our trust, and like we like now Cal could be the owner that he wants to be, as far as that hiring people and allowing him to allowing them to do their job. See, we were upset a year. We were upset for the past couple of years because really Kyle wasn't doing something that Jerry Jones is doing. He wasn't stepping in. He hired people. He hired the wrong people. He just let them run amok. Now, did he leave them in there too long? You can make a case that he left them in there too long, especially Jack Easterby. But he was allowing people. Like I said, my issue was never with Cal. I never thought that Cal was a bad owner. I always said that. You go back and look at my old videos. I said this from the jump, especially when the whole Deshaun Watson and all this stuff was going down. That I don't believe Cal knows football. And he doesn't have to know football. He doesn't have to. He's a billionaire. He doesn't have to know football. It's okay. But make sure you hire the right people. You have the right people around you. The problem was back then he did not have the right people around him. He hired some people. He let them do their job. And again, we was getting mad at him for him basically doing what owners do, hiring somebody and letting them do the job. I'm not gonna micromanage you. I'm gonna let you do what you do because I hired you for a job, so I trust that you do the job. Now, he did the wrong job of hiring the wrong people. That's what was abundantly clear. That's what obvious, completely obvious, that he hired the wrong people. He allowed the wrong people to be in charge and to do the type of things. And that's what we made step in, Cal, step in, Cal, step in, Cal. And we was upset that he wasn't stepping in and doing what Jerry Jones does. Jerry Jones always got his hand in the pot. Everything got to be. I mean, he doesn't let people do their job. He hires figureheads. He's not gonna hire somebody and let them do their job. He hires somebody to take the place of it while he does their job. That's not what Cal does. And now Cal has started to step in when he need to, like when it's time to fire Bill O'Brien, stepping in when you need to. Probably with the whole Jack Easterby situation stepping in. I feel like Cal stepped in. Cal and Hannah stepped in about leading Nick Casario towards D'Amico Ryan. I don't think Nick Casario. I'm pretty sure that D'Amico Ryan was on the table, but I don't know if that was his favorite. I don't know if that's who he was really leaning toward initially. But I think Cal pointed him into that direction. He stepped in and said, "Hey, this is what we do. We don't need you to do what Tepper did and and basically handcuff the draft. No, I'm gonna lead you this way." And I think he's still again, like I said, aggressive when you gotta be aggressive, conservative when you need to be conservative. And I think he said that he will be smart when you need to be smart. And I think that that's what he did. He led he led Cal led him to the right decision, and then I'm gonna let you guys do your job. I'm gonna let y'all do your thing. Because a lot of owners and teams might not want you to trade up all what you trade up, jump up from 12 to 3. Man, you just drafted a quarterback at 2. Why you gonna jump up to 3? Man, we gotta make sure we got this guy. I'm gonna let y'all do y'all. I'm gonna let y'all do y'all. Hey, this like I said, like what was his name? Steven Nelson. I was a big advocate of Steven Nelson getting a contract this offseason. I'm glad he didn't get a contract extension. I'm so glad Nick Casario stuck to his guns and did not give Steven Nelson a contract, because Steven Nelson started off the season looking like how Steven Nelson looked like the previous year, looking like the best corner on the field. And then once not CJ, but once Stingley left and it came back, and Stingley completely took off and was the best corner on the field, you start seeing the lapse in the game of Steven Nelson. Steven Nelson started aging rapidly quick. I know he had the pick six in the playoff game. That was really about it. like that last half of the season was a rough half of the season for Steven Nelson. And if it was outside of that Titans game, he had a good game. The Titans game, the first one in Tennessee, and then and then also in the playoff game, he had a good game. But then I think he used up all he had. He used up all his powers, all his superstar cards. He used everything he had to finish out the season. And I'm glad you did as a Texan. I'm glad you played well towards the end. But hey, it's time for you to walk off. It's time for us to find your replacement. So I'm glad you wasn't aggressive. I'm glad Nick Casario wasn't aggressive. He was logical in this sense. I'm not about to give this 30 plus DB a brand new contract. I'm gonna sit back. I just drafted a cornerback third overall, and I gotta see what this guy has. I feel like he's gonna be the guy, and I need to build around him from a DB standpoint. I'm gonna see what happens. I'm gonna see exactly what happens. And hey, you see exactly what happened. Now I know I got Stingley. I'm gonna find a running mate for Stingley, Steven Nelson. We wish you all the best of luck. If you decide to come back on a very modest deal, you can, but more than likely you're still not going to be the starting corner. You're probably just going to be a rotational spot, a third corner, a depth corner. That's what you're going to be. We can't have you out there on the island as a second corner. We cannot walk into the season next year as Steven Nelson as our number 2 corner. We just can't do that. That's not going to bode well for the Houston Texans from a defensive standpoint. It's just not. So I'm glad that they didn't tie up no extra money to him. They didn't extend them, and we're gonna find a way to replace him. It is what it is. Hey, it's just the brutal nature of the business. It's just the brutal nature, the brutality of the business. It's just how it rolls. It's how it rolls. It's how it shakes. So, like I said, I'm just glad that Cal sits back. He allows his general manager and his head coach to make these type of decisions, and this is part of it. Making sure that you retain Bobby Slowick and Gerard Johnson. I don't think y'all really understand how this is very key, especially to the progression of CJ Stroud. Again, we are I mean, all the teams they compare us to, the Green Bay Packers, the Detroit Lions, who else? I forgot. It was another young team, a young good team they compared us to. The 49ers, like everybody who they keep comparing us to, we're ahead of that. We're ahead of all the timelines. The Cincinnati Bengals, we're ahead of all the timelines because of the season that CJ had as a rookie. None of those guys as rookies went and won a playoff game. And none of those guys went as rookies won a playoff game. Won a division, then back those won a playoff game, and their quarterback look as good as they look. None of these guys are in that same type of situation. So we are ahead of those timelines. Young head coach, young offensive coordinator, young OC, young quarterback. And these guys haven't been in that. We are ahead of the timeline compared to the Green Bay Packers. I mean, Jordan Love has been playing football. He's been in the NFL since 2020. He was in the 2020 draft. He was in the same draft as Joe Burrow, as Tua, as Jalen Hurts, as Justin Herbert. He was in the same draft as them. I don't think people realize that. The Jordan Love. Now he wasn't the starter, but he was in the same draft as them. And he's played games. He started a couple games. I think he started a game last year, the previous year. And I think he started a game the year before that. So he started some football games. He started some football games on the NFL level. So this wasn't his first rodeo. That might have been his first time being a full-fledged starter. But he's played football on the NFL level before. And obviously, Matt LaFleur has been to an NFC Championship game as a head coach. Matt LaFleur is not new to coach of football. And that team, the Green Bay Packers team, that's mostly around Jordan Love, was built for Aaron Rodgers for a lot of it. Who else? Who else? The Lions. They don't have a young quarterback. They what you call it, was the first round pick in 2000 and number one overall pick in what 2016. Jared Goff was. Jared Goff, and then Jared Goff has been in the Super Bowl as a starting quarterback. Lost to the Patriots in 2019. Who else? What's another team that they compare us to that they say we on the same timeline as them? I mean the Bengals. Joe Burrow. Now Joe Burrow went to the Super Bowl his second year, but it was his second year that he went to the Super Bowl. Like we're ahead of the timeline of everybody else that they try to compare us to from an organizational standpoint. I think the only one of these guys who made playoffs as a rookie was Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson, and he lost his playoff game too. He lost to the Chargers, by the way. And he only started the last 7 games of the season. Again, he had a playoff team. CJ Stroud had a team that for the previous 3 years combined won 11 games. And he, including the playoffs, we won 11 games this year alone. So CJ and the Houston Texans are, again, none of those guys had rookie head coaches, none of those guys had rookie OCs, and none of those guys had rookie quarterback coaches. That's the type of situation with the Texans. And like I said, we're ahead of the curve. We're ahead of the trajectory. We're on a different level playing field. I know people want to put us in the box with these other guys, but we're ahead of the timeline when talking about them. So when you don't understand how crucial it is for a guy, CJ has a relationship with both Bobby Slowick and Gerard Johnson. And again, now what this does is now that they have a year under their belt, a year in the NFL, a year of calling plays. Now we can come now when we during off season when we're talking, we have no off season meetings and things like that. Yeah, CJ, but yeah, I didn't really like that play that we. Yeah, it wasn't really all that successful. That screen pass or that just whatever the play is, it really wasn't all that successful. I really didn't like running that. Or when we ran that, this, that, and the third happened. Now CJ's gonna be a little bit more. CJ has been in his second year. Okay, I can tell you, yeah, this don't work. This don't work for me. And what Bobby gonna do? He's gonna throw it out. You don't like this play? You gonna throw it out. Yeah, hey, he's not running that like how I want him to run it. Like you got, like, and again, I'm not saying you a snitch. Like you gonna be talking to your guys, but like things are gonna be operated a little bit more differently now, as far as the confines of the offense. It's more so designed, even more so around the likes and the dislikes of CJ Stroud because he has a year in the NFL belt. He knows what's going on. Things ain't moving so fast to him, going from college, going from a collegiate level to the NFL professional level. Now he's understanding the moment, understanding a lot of things, and now in the and like I said, you don't gotta go to a new offensive system. The verbiage is gonna be exactly the same. Everything's exactly the same. The playbook, the verbiage, everything's exactly the same because you bring it back your same OC and your quarterbacks coach. And now you got a little bit more time to work on because last year you were trying to get acclimated to the NFL. Now you come into this offseason strictly on getting completely better on the NFL level, on the NFL stage, getting back to the point that you was at and getting moving forward. And make shout out to that boy Jeff Hunt for Super Chat Love. Definitely appreciate that. Definitely appreciate that, bro. Why ain't know? Looking forward to the draft and free agency. Already, man. Appreciate Jeff for Super Chat Love. Definitely appreciate that. I agree. I'm definitely looking forward to the draft and free agency. Me more. I ain't gonna lie. As it stands right now, I'm more looking forward to the free agency. That's another thing too. Now we also when we talking about weapons, we also looking at CJ Stroud because a year ago going to free agency, even we had money, we didn't know what quarterback we was gonna have. We didn't know if we were going to end up, because we didn't have the first pick in the draft, we didn't know if we were getting CJ or Bryce. Because the Panthers could very well took C.J. Stroud, and we had to take Bryce. If that was a situation that we were gonna go, or maybe they didn't know if they even really had CJ on their radar at this point in time. I don't know. I'm just saying a year ago, because you, especially because you didn't have the number one pick, you did not know exactly for a fact, concrete, who you're gonna have a quarterback. We can go back just to my comments alone, and we can look and see exactly who people thought we was getting, and who people say they wanted. So no one really could sit up and say for a fact that we was gonna have CJ Stroud. I was one of the ones that was saying all the time, hey, to get on the CJ Stroud train. That I think that, hey, if they had a choice between the two, I feel like they probably more than likely end up taking CJ Stroud. I've been saying that, but I still wasn't 100% fact. Did not know 100% certainty that we are gonna end up with CJ Stroud. Did not know that for 100% fact or 100% certainty. And again, now we know that we had CJ going. We know CJ's our quarterback. So since now that we know that CJ's our quarterback, what we're gonna end up doing is now we're gonna operate our free agency. We're gonna operate our draft with number 7, and we also know how he plays too. Because again, even after the draft, we knew who we had, but we don't know how he's gonna play yet. Now we know exactly what he's gonna do on this level. So now the free agency and draft is gonna be operated and designed specifically, or from an offense standpoint and from a defense standpoint to a certain degree as well, specifically around number 7 and how he likes to play football. How what we do, how many times we can get the football in his hand so he can put points on the board and and make plays, explosive plays downfield. I think what we led the league last year and explosive plays. And again, like I said, if those things keep building, we keep doing those type of things, bro, we gonna get to the point where CJ Stroud's the MVP, and Bobby Slowick is gonna be like the number one coaching candidate next year. And who knows, maybe Bobby Slowick and Gerard Johnson. I mean, if CJ has an explosive year like that, it could be Bobby Slowick and Gerard Johnson, both of them being the two of the most sought out coaching hires next year. Like I said, you don't have to be an offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator to get a head coaching job. We seen Harbaugh go from a special teams coach to be a head coach. Like I say, Mike Tomlin was a DB coach, but before he got the head coaching job, we seen other guys. I don't think that Dan Campbell's ever been an OC. I know at one point he was a officer. I know at one point he was an offensive line coach. He was a tight end coach. I know he was an interim head coach in Miami, because that's the game when we his very first game coaching as a head coach. He was an interim head coach, and he was an interim head coach. Was the game when the Houston Texans lost to Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins put up 42 points in the first half. Remember, we was down 42-0 in the first half. In that game, I think that was the game when I think that was the last game Aaron Foster played as a Houston Texan too. Like that was Dan Campbell's first time ever being the head coach. He was the interim head coach. And I don't think Miami gave him the job. So honestly, I don't think he's ever been an OC either. So you see things like that happen. So you don't have to be an OC or a DC. So you can see both Gerard Johnson and Bobby Slowick, especially if CJ has the type of season what I think he could possibly have, and the Texans are playing on Super Sunday, if not winning the whole thing. Both of those guys can be the two highest coaches coming out of the season next year. I think King Henry comes at. Y'all talking about Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs, Saquon, King Henry. Uh, of those three, Saquon I think, would be the best bet. Not saying that Saquon is Christian McCaffrey. I do think that Saquon can have a Christian McCaffrey type resurgence. You put him in the offense where he is no longer the focal point of the offense. He's always been the focal point of the offense. That does also, I think, add in with injuries. Reason why, but he's always been the focal point of offense. You get Saquon, you put Saquon with C.J. Stroud, with Nico Collins and Tank Dell, and potentially you get, like, you know what I'm saying, another receiver in the draft, or maybe even another receiver in free agency. That takes off a lot of pressure off of Saquon. Saquon can catch the football in the backfield as well. Uh, I actually think it's a good fit. I think it's a good fit, and I think I think it's a good fit, and I definitely think that think it's a good fit, and I do think that you'll be able to make plays with him. But I mean, like how you think about Saquon Barkley being hurt and he's gonna be coming at a high price. Uh, Josh Jacobs a little bit. Josh Jacobs might be even cheaper than Saquon, but I don't know. Like I mean, I like Josh Jacobs. I just don't know if I want to pay Josh Jacobs. And then Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry is a monster. And Derrick Henry is King Henry. I don't think Derrick Henry is playing at Derrick Henry type level. I know when he was third in the league in rushing last year, still was putting up a lot of yards, even though the two games against us, like we was able to shut him down. I don't know if Derrick Henry and Derrick Henry was like 30 years old. I don't know. And I know he doesn't. I know Derrick for what people really think about Derrick Henry doesn't have the same shred on his time that a lot of people actually think he has because I think I said this the other day. If you remember when he got drafted, they had DeMarco Murray. They was the Titans starting running back was DeMarco Murray. Then even after they got rid of DeMarco Murray, they brought in D. Westbrook from the Patriots, and he was still the primary back. It wasn't until the tail end of 2018 when Derrick Henry really became the Titans' back for real, like being their workhorse for real. It wasn't until the end of 2018, and then I mean 2018, then in 2019, even the beginning of 2019, they still was kind of a little bit skittish a little bit on it, and then he also took off, led the league in rushing, had 1,800 yards, and then the following year had 2,000 yards, and then the next year he played half the season and still had over 1,000 yards. And less than half the season, actually, if I'm not mistaken, I think he played less than half the season, still had 1,000 yards, and then the last 2 years still was able to put up numbers. But he's a running back that has 30 that's gonna be 30 years plus. He's a running back that's like I said that's 30 years plus, and I don't know if Derrick Henry is going to have the same effect long term, and I don't think you're going to have him for a long time. And again, like I said before, and again, I mean, you be able to pay him, and probably with Derrick Henry, you could probably pay Derrick Henry and get off of Derrick Henry contract before you pay C.J. Stroud because you got another 3 years to pay C.J. Stroud because you're going to give C.J. Stroud probably a contract extension with the next 2 years because he has 4 years left on this deal. You're gonna give him a contract extension after the next 2 years, with 2 years left on the deal. Normally, when you pay a quarterback the year before they fifth year option, so you're probably gonna pay CJ within the next 2, possibly 3 years, but the contract won't take effect until after that fifth year is done. So even though we announce the contract and we talk about it, the contract doesn't take effect until after a fifth year is done because when they get a contract extension, it is that a contract extension. And they're probably gonna. I think they operate. I think they exercise their fifth year after the third year, if I'm not mistaken. So, uh, so we won't have to worry about that. And I think by the time it's time to pay CJ and Will Anderson, you'll be off of Derrick Henry's contract if you probably give him like a 3 year deal type situation. I just don't know if you really going to get a lot really out of Derrick Henry for the next 3 years. I don't really think you are. Honestly, I think maybe next year you probably will get something. That I think the wheels are gonna come off that truck real quick because it's just inevitable. Like it's gonna end up happening that he's gonna run into the wall. It just happens, and you start seeing a little bit signs of that. Even though Derrick Henry had 1,000 yards, I think he still averaged like 4 yards a carry and had some good games. Even when they play against us, Derrick Henry did not really. I mean, I'm not talking about just Derrick Henry was rushing for 2,200 yards against the Houston Texans. Derrick Henry just didn't look like how you would think Derrick Henry would be looking. Like so, and I know he had like 140 some yards his last game against the Jags as a Titan. I still don't think he played like. I didn't look at that game and was like, you know what, Derrick Henry still out there looking like King Henry. So I do think I think you benefit if you're gonna go that route running back wise. I think Saquon is more so your best bet. And again, I still would, like I said, of that three that you named, I would take Saquon over the other two, but I would take DeAndre Swift of all of them because I think he's gonna come at a way cheaper price. And I think it's way around the same reward and way less risk. I don't think none of those other guys got like none of those guys a reward is even high. No, I don't really think none of those guys reward is really significantly higher than the other. Now I feel like they all have their own risks, and that's kind of like I think they all have around the same type of risk too. I do think that Swift has a slightly lesser risk than the rest of those guys. And it's more so that I think it's more so the way the way the contract is signed that you might be stuck with those guys depending on how the contract is structured. The whoever you sign, you might be stuck with them even if they fall off for like 2 years without them even doing anything, like Lamar Miller was. Like Lamar Miller was. He's just sitting on your roster. Frank Gore Jr. in the fourth, yeah, and he probably runs for 30 years too. Like his grandkids gonna be running with him right now, and just off the name Frank Gore Jr. Like think about this, man. Think about this because like Frank Gore Jr. is in this draft. Obviously Marvin Harrison Jr. is in this draft, and then like Jerry Rice's son is in this draft. Like somebody, I really want whoever drafts him. I want somebody to draft all three of those players. I want the same team, so you can sit up there and have like, man, hey, you got a Hall of Fame. Yeah, both these receivers, both their dads are in the Hall of Fame, and then this running back, his dad more than likely will be in the Hall of Fame. But he's I think when Frank was like the third leading rusher. Now sidebar, I actually don't think that Frank Gore is a Hall of Fame running back. He's probably going to get in the Hall of Fame because he's like the third or fourth leading rusher of all time. I don't think he's a Hall of Fame running back. I know people are like what. I don't think that Frank Gore is a Hall of Fame running back. Honestly, I really don't. Is he going to be in the Hall of Fame? I'll be surprised if he doesn't go into the Hall of Fame. But I don't think he should be in the Hall of Fame. I think like I know he had like 2 years or a year or two. I know he had 1 year where he had 1,800 yards. I think he had 2 years of 1,800 yards, or he had a year of 1,800 yards. He had another year with 1,700 yards, like something like that. Like he did have like two. He had two really really great seasons. He had two really great seasons. When I look at Frank Gore, I don't think Hall of Fame. I just feel like he's a guy who just played long enough to rack up a whole bunch of yards and statistics and get up on the list. Kind of like Phillip Rivers. Like I don't feel Phillip Rivers is a Hall of Fame quarterback. More like I wouldn't be surprised if Phillip Rivers goes into the Hall of Fame. I think Phillip Rivers is like top 10 in passing yards or something like that. Like, I don't feel like Phillip Rivers is I don't feel like Phillip Rivers is a Hall of Fame quarterback. Phillip Rivers more likely to be in the Hall of Fame because he played long enough to get a lot. Like sometimes people play long enough to get like to fluctuate their stats and get a lot of numbers from a number standpoint. But I don't really. I mean, I'm just saying when I look at them, I don't think Hall of Fame. Like I don't think. Oh man, he was one of the best players at his position. Even I just don't see that. I just don't see it. Yeah, I agree. I think he's going to the Hall of Fame. I don't think he needs to be in the Hall of Fame. Is he going to be in the Hall of Fame? I think he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. I don't think he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. You are right, especially coming off the two knee injuries. Like what he did was remarkable. Now, if you want to talk about that's Hall of Fame worthy for him to actually able to play for 20 years after having two reconstructed knees, I'll give you that. I ain't gonna argue with that. But when we talk about other running backs, like nah, I'm not even all time, just in his own era. Frank Gore or Adrian Peterson, AP. Frank Gore or Marshawn Lynch. Marshawn Lynch. Frank Gore, Arian Foster. Arian Foster. Frank Gore, LaShawn McCoy. Shady. Taking Shady. Uh, who else was in? Who else is in? Who else is in? Frank Gore's era of playing football. What's another running back? Like I could name other running backs that I think are better that probably won't be in the Hall of Fame. Like Aaron Foster, and that's more so because of Aaron Foster's longevity, or lack thereof, and that's kind of to my point. Like Aaron Foster's lack thereof, like Aaron Foster's not going to be in the Hall of Fame. Like, Aaron Foster's a better running back than Frank Gore. Um, like Beast Mode might be a Hall of Fame quarterback. Yeah, Shady was like that, bro. Sean Alexander or Frank Gore. Sean Alexander. He's a former MVP. LaDainian Thompson or Frank Gore. LaDainian Thompson. Uh, who else? We can talk about his former teammates from the U. I think Clint Portis is better. I think Clint Portis is better. Personally, I think Clint Portis better. Now I give you Frank Gore over Willis McGahee though. I'll give you Frank Gore. I'll definitely take Frank Gore over Willis McGahee. I'll take Frank over Willis McGahee. Uh, I definitely will. I definitely take Frank over Willis McGahee. Uh, but yeah, like I said, it is what it is. But like I said, but who you talking about? Though? You talking about Shady, or you talking about Frank Gore? You talking about Shady or Frank Gore? Like I just look, his running backs in his era that I feel like was better than him. But all right, I mean, like I said, I'm not even argue the Aaron Foster standpoint. We already know what it is with Aaron Foster. Is Aaron Foster didn't play long enough. Like Aaron Foster, his career was too short. Like that was his problem. Like that was his problem. But other guys, I feel like other guys, yeah, they definitely played. They definitely played better. They played better than Frank Gore. But he's gonna get in. So so a future Hall of Famer. We'll just put it like that. I'm just saying that I feel like although I feel like a team should draft those guys just because who they name, just who their daddies is. You know, daddy's son. Like just because they daddies, who their daddies is. I feel like they should be drafting those guys just because of that. Just because who their daddies is. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm putting out there. Just because of who their dads is, I feel like they should be drafting. That's what they should be doing. Honestly, honestly. Henry, Henry's cool. Yeah, yeah, man, yeah. I agree with that. I agree with that. Swisher, like Derrick Henry is cool. I'm not tripping. If whenever free agency starts and we get a notification that we signed Derrick Henry, I'm not like I'm not. Damn, why you do that? I'm not doing that. I'm also not. Yeah, I'm not doing it. I'm like, all right, cool, bet. Good. Okay, all right, cool, bet. Same thing with any of the other guys. Same thing with Mike Evans. All right, cool, bet. I would be more excited if they signed Derek. If I would be more excited if they signed Hollywood Brown and DeAndre Swift. I would. I'd be like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I would be more excited about those guys. And if they also do, because I think that would mean one or two things. Either they've already made the decision and hire and signing some guys on the defense side of football, or they about. I feel like that's what they finna do because they went this cheap route with these offensive players. They gonna break some banks with the with the defense side because what I think people who are just strictly going after the Derrick Henrys or the people who just going. I think those are teams who are trying to make big splashes. Those are situations that the Texans have been in previously. Like when the Texans had the bag back in 2000, I think like either 6 or 2007. I think it was 2000. I think it was 2006 though. I think it was 2006. You had the bag in 2006, and you went out there. Oh no, it was 2007. It was 2007. You had the bag in 2007, and you go out there and you put a whole bunch of money in the Mon Green because you're trying to bring in and wheel in a big fish. You're trying to wheel in a big name because you're trying to win March. You're trying to win April. You're trying to win the off season. You're trying to win the sports clipping. Look who we brought in. Something the Dallas Cowboys do. Look who we brought in. We are actually talking about hiring and signing guys, free agents that could actually contribute to the team and actually because the window now is wide open. The window right now is wide open. We are now trying to get guys like now it's the point that it's either shit or get off the pot right now when it comes to the Texans. We are bringing in contributors to go out there and actually win a championship because this is your window because that window starts to close when you have to sign CJ because now, like I said earlier, not only are you signing CJ at that same time, you also signed Will Anderson. In the year prior, you had just got through signing Derek Stingley Jr. So a lot of your money is about to go up in the next 3 years between three players. It is. Let's just call it is. Call a spade a spade. So what your best bet is right now is to make sure you pay God. Your best bet right now is to try to win now. That's what the Chiefs did. The Chiefs won. Remember, the Chiefs won their first Super Bowl before Patrick Mahomes got paid. Won their second one last year after Patrick Mahomes got paid. After they had to get rid of Tyreek Hill and things like that. They had to get rid of some players, and they won their Super Bowl before they had to pay guys. Before Chris Jones and Patrick Mahomes got paid. Before you gave Travis Kelsey a new deal. Four guys got paid. They won the Super Bowl, and then now you see how the team is somewhat depleted. But Patrick Mahomes is playing. He's on autopilot right now. He on a whole nother level that he don't really need all the things that you want because he's just like that right now. We not at that level just yet. And again, by the time we get to that level, we want to make sure that CJ already got his championships. Cause same thing with Brady. Brady won his first 3 titles before he got paid. Russell Wilson won his Super Bowl before he got paid. Burrow got to the Super Bowl before he got paid. But we're gonna see how that because he got paid now. We're gonna see how that work out. That's why it's kind of dangerous to get to like when you haven't got nowhere before your quarterback got paid. Like the Chargers. The Chargers just paid their quarterback. Now we're gonna see how this is gonna affect the rest of the team. Jacksonville's going to have to pay Trevor Lawrence. We're going to see how they pay. Like I say, the Eagles got to the Super Bowl before they paid their quarterback. They paid the quarterback. Let's see what happened. The Ravens, this is the Ravens really, I feel like this is their best opportunity. They paid their quarterback and they got this far. But let's see how they handle it now. Let's see how the Ravens going to do going forward. Miami, this is the 49ers shot. Because remember, Brock Purdy is Mr. Irrelevant. They talk about it all the time. Brock Purdy ain't got no 50 option. He ain't got no 50 option. He played last year was his rookie year. This is his second year. Brock Purdy's about to get paid. Like if you want to, Brock Purdy about to get paid. Shocking, I know, but Brock Purdy's about to get paid. Let's see how they keeping Debo and Ayuk and Nick Bosa and Fred. Let's see how they gonna keep all these guys in San Fran once they start paying their quarterback. Now again, I don't think that Brock Purdy is getting like 250. Brock Purdy gonna get a deal probably around like the Kyler Murray, Dak Prescott. It's gonna be around like right at 2. You know what I'm saying? Like 210, 215, honestly. I don't see Dak. I mean not Dak. I don't see Brock Purdy unless he goes out there now and Brock go out and win the Super Bowl and the Super Bowl MVP, then he might can get something around like 270, 270, whatever. He probably could. I wouldn't be shocked if they don't win the Super Bowl, they're not giving Brock nothing north than 250. He's not getting nothing north than 250. He's not getting nothing north than 250. But if he wins, he can get 250 plus. So I don't think he'll get 250 if they don't win. I really don't think it'll go past 210, and that's really just because that's just the way the market's going. He'll get that 210. But I don't even think it'll go past 210 if he don't win the Super Bowl. But again, once he get paid, once that check come due, it's gonna be hard to keep that team together. It's gonna be, and then when that team is not together, let's see exactly how the 49ers look without that. That's what I'm saying. You gonna have to start paying guys now, and make sure you use that money right now today in this couple of seasons before you got paid. C.J. Stroud and Will Anderson and Darius Sanders. I seen somebody in Tank too. You're right. Tank not first round pick. Tank contract gonna come out the same time. Tank contract gonna come out the same time as Stingley. Because Stingley has a 50 option, but Tank don't. So when Stingley's 50 option is up, at the same time Tank's 4 years up. You got to pay both. So you got to pay Tank. You got to pay Tank and CJ the same day. I mean not CJ. You got to pay Tank and Stingley around the same time, and you also got to pay Will Anderson and CJ around the same time as well. That's what you're gonna have to do. probably the smart decision is probably to pay Will Anderson before you pay CJ. Uh, let's see that. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know because you can make a decision. I mean, you can make pay CJ first because he's gonna cost more, and then see exactly what you got Will Anderson. I don't want to get that far down the rabbit hole to think exactly what you're gonna have to do going forward. But just saying, because of that, you do have you can spend money now. And like I said, we signed those guys. I'm not tripping. I'm not tripping, but I'm also not doing backflips either. I'm not doing backflips over Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley. As I see him, cool. All right, cool. Bet. Let's do what we gotta do. Let's win a championship. But I'm not doing backflips over them. I think a lot of times teams go out there and make those type of big moves for the theatrics, for the flash of it. Say, oh man, look who we just signed. Oh man, look. Like when the Titans like signed Andre Johnson. Why? When the Colts uh, 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 when the Colts signed Andre Johnson. When the Titans signed Andre Johnson. We've seen this happen. The Colts signed Andre Johnson and Frank Gore, I think the same week. Like we've seen teams do that before. When the Titans went out there and got what's his name Julio Jones. When the Titans went out there and signed Julio Jones, remember that? It just happened. Like no one would like sometimes like people do they do this for look who we got type situation, bro. We signed. Oh yeah, hey, I've been saying, hey man, we talk about DBs go after Jair Alexander. I think like I say, he wants out. I think he has 2 or 3 years left on his deal. They're going they I'm pretty sure they're gonna want to try to come up out of that contract because they got speaking of quarterbacks getting paid, they got paid Jordan Love this offseason. So especially at the season that they don't want to let that they don't want that to linger no more because if they got franchise tag him, but then he go out there and put together another season like that and get to a Super Bowl type situation in the NFC, man. We talking about a guy getting 300 million. So I advise Green Bay to pay him now so it won't go to 300 plus. Because really outside of CJ when it's time for him to re up, I don't see a quarterback in the near future because everybody got paid for the most part um, getting 300 million. Like I say, I don't think two. I mean, two was up, but two was not about to get 300 million. Uh, Same thing with Trevor Lawrence. He never get 300 million. Uh, and like Jordan Love could, and Jordan Love probably would get 300 million. That's the reason why what they need to do is to make sure that it doesn't go past. Make sure that his contract thing doesn't linger past this season because if it does, they will have to give him 300 million if he gives you another season like this year. Brock Purdy, even Brock Purdy won Super Bowl. I don't think Brock Purdy. I don't think the 49ers can afford to give him 300 million because they give him 300 million, they can't sign Ayuk. They can't. So like then Ayuk has one more. He has a 50 option this year. I don't. If they do that, if they give Brock Purdy 300 million, they cannot sign Brandon Ayuk. Bring back Brandon Ayuk. They're gonna have to unload Brandon Ayuk if that's the case. So yeah, I don't see that happen. So again, the best bet for the Packers is to sign Jordan Love this season, so they won't have to be paying that 300 million bag. And to do that, I think they're gonna probably not. They might not have to, but I can see them wanting to get up under get from up under need Jair Alexander's contract, and I think he's also had rumbles about him wanting to leave. And I don't think you have to give. He's not gonna. His talent is worth a first round pick, but you don't have to give a first round pick to give him. You'd be stupid to give him a first round pick for him because of his injury concern. In the last 3 years combined, he's missed a total of 24 games. He's missed 24 games in the last 3 years. He missed 10 this past year. He missed one the year before, and the year before that he missed 13. He's only played one full season one time, and that was the second year in his career. And I think that was 2019. It's the only time he's played a full season. He's not talent wise because he's a top corner. He's a top 10 corner, but he's not. And you might not find a corner. I mean, you could find a corner better than the draft. You might not from a talent standpoint, but from an availability standpoint, you cannot give up a first. You can make a case that it might be too rich to give up a second because our second so low. We got the Eagles second. We no we got the Eagles third. We got our second. We got the Eagles third. Because we had such a low second, I wouldn't be mad at a second. I would give up a second because we had such a low second. Um, but if you probably really can get it done with two threes. Honestly, a third this year and a third next year, maybe throw in a fourth or something like that. You got two fours. You got some. I think you got some extra draft picks and extra draft too, if I'm not mistaken, from all the wheeling and dealing that you did last year. But yeah, like no more. I'm not giving up no more than a second. Like I said, I will give up a second. I will give up a second, and I'll give up a second to next year's third. I'll give up a second this year and next year's third for Jai Alexander, absolutely. And then bring him in. I'll rework his deal for multiple reasons. I'll rework his deal, possibly to try to, you know what I'm saying, maybe possibly clear up some more cap space, get a little bit more flexibility. Like you could do this, you could do stuff like that. I know Wise, shout out to my boy Wise, he brings it up all the time about restructuring Tunsil's and I think Tyus Howard contract and somebody else's contract, and you can open up over $20 million between 20. You can open up between $20 and $30 million of cap space this year. I think right now we're sitting at like 70. So if you open up 20 to 30, we damn near at 100, if not 100. If we able to open up 30, so but I think it's in between 20 and 30. You go open up damn near $100 million in cap space by reworking those guys' contracts. So again, I would trade a second and next. Trade this year's second and next year's third for Jair Alexander. No problem. I'll do you one better. I'll give up a third this year, a fourth. I'll give up a third this year, a fourth next year, next year second. I don't think they'll do it, but that's what I would do. But I would definitely I wouldn't even want to call and play no games. I wouldn't even want to call and play. Hey man, I got a second for y'all. Which I want to do. Nah, he got too many injury concerns. I'll give you a second. I'll give you next year's third. I'll give you next year's. I'll give you a second this year, a fourth this year, and next year's third. Come on, go ahead. You get up underneath that contract and you ain't doing no better. Come on, let's do that. Come on, let's do that. Bring Jair here. Pair him up with Stingley. Jair Alexander, Stingley. What? Come on, man. Hey, you ain't got to worry about cornerbacks following nowhere. Both of them can play. Both of them can play a side. One can play one side. One can play the other side. Boom. Both of them locked down. Ain't nobody though. And you might well cancel all flights going past NRG because it's absolutely a no fly zone. If you had those two guys you're saying there, now I ain't gonna lie to you. You do run the risk of week 10 at whoever, like well week 10 against Jacksonville, and neither one of your corners men. Like you do run that risk. That is a risk that you do absolutely run. That week 10, week 11 at such and such, you ain't got your DBs. That's part of the reason why if Kansas City win, I want the Texans to play Kansas City the season opener. Get that out the way. Go ahead, get that out the way, man. Let's get that out the way. Let's have a full all season, a full summer to prepare for prepare for Patrick Mahomes and the offense, and let's go out the gate, punch them boys in the mouth. The season opener, right out the gate, punch them boys in the mouth, and let's take a dub at Kansas City on season opener. I've been saying that. Let's do it. Yeah, I ain't running for nobody. Is Nelson coming back? More than likely not, and I hope not. Honestly, I actually hope not. And I like Steven Nelson. I think Steven Nelson gave all what he needs to give. He's given he's done all he can. He has. He's completely done everything he could do. I don't think Steven Nelson has any more left in the tank. Honestly, I just don't. I don't think Steven Nelson has any more left in the tank. I think he's given that he can give, all he can be able to give. On a successful standpoint, I just think he's given all he got. Mike Evans at the Rockets game. Yeah, I talked about. I mean, maybe I talked about it earlier. I know Mike the Rockets. I seen the Rockets tweet. I think he was up there throwing up the H and stuff like that. Again, it would not surprise me if Mike Evans wants to be a Houston Texan, and it would not surprise me or shock me if the Houston Texans sign Mike Evans. Me personally, I would not sign Mike Evans. That's just me. That's just me. Me personally, I wouldn't sign Mike Evans. I like Mike Evans. He's had what 11 straight 1,000-yard seasons. He was balling in the playoffs. I understand that. That's great. The problem with that is he also has 11,000-yard season, which means he's played for 11 years already. That's my real. I mean, he's already played 11 years. How many more years you think he gonna play? Like really, how many more years you think he gonna play? And I think Mike Evans is gonna be expensive. It's like I don't think you get Mike Evans for the veteran minimum. I don't think you get Mike Evans for 2 million type situation. Yeah, he's good. He's just old. Yeah, you're right. That's what I'm saying. And again, that's another thing. If I look at my phone in the beginning of March, or whenever free agency starts, I think like March 15th or something like that, middle of March, and the Texans sign Mike Evans, I'm like, all right, cool, bet. I'm not doing the backflip for it. I'm not doing the backflip. Let's go. I'm not doing that. I'm looking at it. All right, bet, cool. So if Mike Evans take 2 year, 20 million, I would rather give that 2 year 20. I would rather give. I would rather give that 2 year $20 million to Hollywood Brown. And I don't even think Hollywood Brown will take that. That's nothing. I don't think like I would rather give that 2 year 20 million to Hollywood. I don't even think you would even need that to sign Hollywood. So I think you can sign Hollywood less than that. I'm never saying you give Hollywood a multi-year deal. We give Hollywood a 1 year deal, and I wouldn't be tripping. I think signing Hollywood to a 1 year deal is smarter than signing Mike Evans to a 2 year deal. Cause I Mike Evans probably will give you another 1,000-yard season this year. He might not give you no more after that. Like I think Mike Evans is good for the next 2 years. Mike already got a ring, and if that's the case, me personally, if I'm Mike Evans, like how you just said, but you don't think he really chasing the bag, that he chasing the ring. If I'm Mike Evans, I'm going to Kansas City. Honestly, you know why? Because Kansas City, he goes to Kansas City. If he goes to Kansas City, he's the outside Travis Kelsey, which is a tight end, by the way. He's the primary target. Mike Evans comes to Houston, he could be the primary target, but it's not guaranteed that he's the primary target. You know why it's not guaranteed he's the primary target? Because what the Houston Texans are going to do. Houston Texans are still have Nico Collins, they got Tank Dell, and more than likely they're still going to draft a receiver. If Mike Evans goes to Kansas City, he's the primary outside Travis Kelsey, the primary target. Um, Andy Reid's gonna throw the football, and the Chiefs are going to be more inclined to pay him than the Texans are because the Texans are going to try to worry about paying money on defense and also getting the running game as well. So I feel like the money would be like that 2 year $20 million that you brought up. That's not a bad deal. I'm cool with that deal. Like I said, if we sign, if my thing is if we sign Mike Evans, I'm not tripping about it. I'm just not doing a backflip. I'm not upset about that. I'm not gonna be upset about it. I'm gonna be like, all right, cool, bet. All right, cool, bet. Like I say, Mike Evans, Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs. I'll look at that. All right, cool, bet. I'm not mad about it. I'm not hollering and screaming and doing backflips. I think it's cheaper to go after AJ. I think it's cheaper to go after Hollywood Brown, and it's cheaper to go after DeAndre Swift. Thoughts on Mechie? I mean, like I was telling guys earlier, my thing about Mechie and Hudson, I just think that it's something that my stance on both of them is that it's something that this year that the coaching staff, Bobby Slowick, Gerard Johnson, whoever the receiving coach is, maybe even D'Amico Ryans, possibly even CJ as well, is something that they are doing that they don't like as far as they either not understand the playbook all the way, they not run their routes the way they want to, they not in the spots and position where they want them to be in, where they need to be in. It's something that they're doing through the week. It's something that's going on Monday through Saturday that we don't see on Sunday is the reason why they're not on the field actually being utilized and being productive on Saturdays because every receiver on this team except Xavier Hudson and John Mechie has missed time. Not just missed time, missed multiple times. Tank Dell's been hurt twice. Tank Dell had the concussion, got hurt, had the concussion in the Falcons game, missed the Saints game, then came back, played, and then got hurt against the Broncos game and missed the rest of the season. Nico missed a game earlier this season, then came back, played, then ended up missing 2 games, and basically missed 3 games because he played the first play of the Jets game, missed the rest of that game, so he might as well call that game. Then missed the next 2 games. Noah Brown got hurt 3 different times this year on 3 separate occasions. And then same thing with Robert Woods. Robert Woods has missed a lot of time too. So these guys had ample opportunity. A lot of this actually happened at the same time, honestly. Because if you think about it, when Tank got hurt at the end of the season, Nico got hurt the following week, and at that time, Robert Woods was gone. Noah Brown was still there, but then Noah Brown ended up getting hurt for the second time. So the third time. So guys have missed multiple times, and a lot of it actually happened at the same time. And they didn't get a chance to be on the field. Why? But the thing is, that's a lot when people say they weren't on the field, they haven't got a chance. They have been on the field. They just wasn't out there catching the football. Xavier Hutchinson, we used to run a lot of jet sweeps with, and then Mechie would go out there and give him a couple blocks a game. That's what we mostly utilize him for. So I don't know what it is. Like I said, it might be a combination of them all. I'm not saying this one thing specifically, but I feel like it's a combination of a lot of different things as far as understanding the playbook, not running the routes the way they want them to run. Their routes not looking as crisp as they want them to look. They're not being in the right spots. Something they're missing their assignments. They're not recognizing the coverage properly. I don't know exactly what it is. Maybe they in practice dropping a lot of catches. I don't know. It's a combination of some of it. With Mechie, you got throw in the health situation. Him coming off the ACL. Him also battling back, dealing with cancer. So it's a lot of different things swirling around that are reasons why they haven't being productive. Xavier Hudson, you got to put in the fact that he's a rookie. But this is the thing. We don't have time we don't have time to be patient. Same thing with Dameon Pierce. Same thing with Jalen Petrie. We do not have time to be patient. We have a window that's wide open. Like I said earlier, either shit or get off the pot. That's where we at right now with this team. You know why? Because the window was wide open. I laid out for y'all the other day. I'll do it again if y'all missed it last time. You look at guys, Dan Marino, his second year in the league. Broke the passing yard record, touchdown record. Well, set the passing yard touchdown record at that time. Won the MVP. Went to the Super Bowl. He lost, but he went to MVP. Both Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes in their second year in the league won the MVP. Joe Burrow went to the Super Bowl, lost, but went to the Super Bowl his second year. Russell Wilson, Ben Roethlisberger won the Super Bowl in their second year. Brock Purdy in his second year in the Super Bowl. Aaron Rodgers, was his second year in the league, but his second year as a full starter, won the Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes won his second year in the league, but his second year as a starter, won the Super Bowl. Tom Brady won the Super Bowl his second year in the league. Who's second year in the league next year? C.J. Stroud. He's further along than all those guys they rookie year. Both Ben Roethlisberger and Lamar Jackson went to the playoffs their rookie year. Lamar Jackson only played 7 games his rookie year and did not win a playoff game his rookie year. Both CJ and Ben Roethlisberger both won a playoff game and lost a playoff game. Now Ben Roethlisberger did go 13-0 his rookie year, but he had a way better team. He wasn't coming with a team that the previous 3 years combined won 11 games, and the year before won 3.5. It's not the same situation. He's further along than all those guys. So when we're talking about Mechie and Hutchinson and Jalen Petrie and Damian Pierce, we might like those guys. We see flashes from Damian Pierce and Jalen Petrie, but it's time to put up a shut up. Like I say, piss and get off the pot, because we are right here. We are right here, right now, in our championship window right now. It is what it is. It is what it is. Right now, we are in our championship window, and what we are trying to do, we are trying to win the championship. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. That's what we're here to do. And what I need y'all to do is, I need y'all to be productive. And if y'all not productive, I'm going to bring somebody else that it is. And as soon as I bring somebody else that's productive, you gone. Because you is. Now, we can find a role for you as a blocker, as a return man. That's why Damian Pierce went out there and let me start returning some punts and kicks or something. You know, let me start doing something else. I'm pretty sure that's what Hutchinson am. Let me start carrying the ball a little bit. Let me show you I can do something with the jet sweeps. Like let me put something else on the table till I fix what my main job is. Like my main job is to be a receiver. So until I get this receiving part down, let me run these jet sweeps and make some plays. Let me do some blocks. Let me block. Let me make sure I'm good at pass protecting. I'm good at run blocking. Let me run back some punts and some kicks. Let me you know what I'm saying, find something to do real quick. Let me earn my keep real quick. Like the old folks say, let me earn my keep a little bit. Let me do something like that first. Because I don't want to get to the point where I'm not doing nothing extra, and then my main job, I'm not holding my own weight with it in this champion type situation. Because again, if we was in a situation that we was a bad football team, like if this was last year's record, then we ain't got no problem with those guys being on the team. And we can sit up here, we can let them grow and develop and stuff like that. We can't do that right now. We can't do that right now. AJ Brown. I mean, I know that the Eagles are talking about letting go of AJ Brown. One, I don't think they'll do it. I like AJ Brown a lot. I don't know what his contract is. I know he got a nice size contract. I don't know what his contract is, but I mean, I know again he got gonna be at the Pro Bowl, and hey, if CJ and for the player that CJ won't, hey, if the player that CJ won't, hey, the player that CJ won't, and he can get him. That's who CJ won't. That's who CJ won't. I just don't see them making a move. Like I don't see them making a move like that with AJ Brown. I don't see them both sides. I don't see the Eagles really giving up AJ Brown. I think also for AJ Brown, you probably got to give up a number one. So I don't see that. I don't see it really happening. Pittman, Nico, Tank would be. I mean, Pittman cool and all. I just feel like you can do better. I feel like I feel like I feel like you can do better. Nico, Pickens, and Tank. I mean, in hindsight, we should have took Pickens over Mechie. Cause we took Mechie over Pickens. Uh, um, hindsight, we took Mechie over Pickens. Again, another example. I just feel like we can do better. Me personally, again, if we made, like I said, we at the point now. I really don't. I mean, unless it's just a real, like just dumb, boneheaded move. I really don't see myself really like too much like mad or frustrated when it comes to with certain moves. I mean, I just don't know if I'm jumping up and doing backflips for a George Pickens or a AJ Brown or Mike Evans. If we got those guys, I'm like cool. I don't know if I'm doing backflips for them. I don't know if I'm running around screaming like, "Oh man, look what we just signed." I think it's like, all right, cool. All right, bet. We got CJ some weapons. All right, cool. Like CJ got some guys he could throw to. I feel like I'm gonna be feeling more like that, more so than like running around excited. Like I just don't think that I'll be running. Like I want to see us do more something. Again, I'm running around excited. We trade for Jair Alexander. I'm running around excited if we sign Chris Jones. I'm running around excited if we sign Antoine Winfield. Uh, like I say, I'm running around excited more so for all like for the defensive guys. Uh, um, like making moves and making plays with some of the defenders. Uh, now, now we was able to make them like say for instance like I was saying, hey they signed the 49 signed Brock Purdy and they got a leg on Brandon Ayuk. I'm running around excited for Brandon Ayuk. Uh, I might be running around excited for T Higgins, even though I wouldn't do it. But if they did that, I'll be running around excited. Uh, who else? Obviously, if they find like a weird trade to find a way to get Justin Jefferson or some crazy like that. Obviously, yeah. Like I mean, say there's a couple offensive guys that they made some move, but some of it got made. I mean, I guess the only one that to me I think is really realistic that could possibly happen would be like T Higgins. Like the Bengals don't franchise tag T Higgins, they let T Higgins walk. If we brought in T Higgins, I'd definitely be excited. Cause I feel like you have your number one. Cause I feel like T. Higgins, I feel like because then you definitely won't need to draft a receiver in the draft if you sign like say for instance, but I think also T Higgins gonna cost you a pretty penny. But tell me this: what if they happen to sign T Higgins and AJ Brown? Cause I really like not AJ Brown, but Hollywood Brown. Cause I really like the dynamic with Hollywood Brown because I need somebody who can get open consistently. Somebody who and he's a guy who can get behind the defense. So tell me how y'all would feel if they would sign T Higgins and Hollywood Brown. Not T Higgins fan. He alright. You think he's just alright? I mean, I know some people feel like like he really like in the same vein of Nico, which I get that. I understand that. Uh, I do think T Higgins can be a number one. I think T Higgins can be a number one. I mean, he was supposed to be he was supposed to be the Bengals number one. And the only reason why he's not the Bengals number one is because the Bengals had an opportunity, a chance to draft Jamar Chase, who was the best receiver in that draft, who was Joe Burrow's number one. Remember, Jamar Chase was Joe Burrow's number one receiver at LSU when he had Jettis. Now, what you could also say is that he played a year with T. Higgins. He's like, yeah, I need to get I need to get yeah. I know I need an offensive lineman, but y'all need to make sure y'all get this nigga because I don't know. Y'all need to make sure y'all get this dude here. Like I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. So y'all need to make sure y'all get this dude here. Y'all need to make sure y'all get this dude here because if y'all don't get this dude here, I'm just letting y'all know that if y'all don't get this dude here, we got some problems. We got some absolute problems. So I'm just saying. I'm just absolutely saying. Uh, I'm just absolutely saying. But who knows? Like I said, who really knows? If that was the problem, if that was the case, but we'll see. I think the Bengals done listening to Burrow talking about waiting. I mean, maybe you might be right. They should have stopped. Even though I think well, he messed up his hand off a throw. I don't even think it had nothing to do with that. Bro, case can be QB1 if you had Higgins, Tank, Nico, and Hunt. Oh wait, talk about. So I just want to know. I just want to know how y'all would feel if we had T Higgins, Nico, Tank, and Hollywood. You talk about that Case could be number. He could be QB1. Is that you think it's that? You think it'd be that? You think it'd be that deadly of offense? Hey man, if you feel like it'd be that deadly of offense, if you think it'll be that deadly of offense, then we should do it. Because if that, bro, if it's that deadly of offense and you got your quarterback like CJ Stroud, man, let's talk about it. Let's talk. Let's have a real heart to heart, bro. Let's have a real heart to heart right here. If that's really what happens, if that's really how we feel, what's the problem here? What the problem is? Oh no, we're not running back with Jimmy Ward. Not at all. Not in the slightest. Not in the slightest. Not the slightest. Nah, Jimmy Ward. Nah, we ain't doing that at all. Jimmy Ward gone. Jimmy Ward's absolutely gone. Yeah, he would be gone before Steven Nelson. I definitely think Steven Nelson gone, bro. Fool around get 10K. But we breaking all the passing records, man. We breaking them all. Maybe appreciate everybody that came through here. Make sure that like button, hit the like button already. But shout out to everybody that came through up in here. Shout out to everybody hit that like button. Shout out to my boy Jeff for super chat love. Definitely appreciate that. Uh, gonna be live once again on Friday. I know ain't no games this weekend, but we know who knows. There's definitely gonna be some news to talk about. So make sure. I might be a little bit earlier on Friday. I might not do 8:30. I probably do probably about 8 o'clock. Uh, Probably because I was trying to get some time for try to get some time for Honcho to do soft sports, but he had something to do, so he didn't get a chance to do it today. So that was the reason why I was late. But probably on Friday, probably you know what I'm saying, go a little bit earlier. So we. Who knows? It's gonna be. It's always gonna be some things to talk about. But I'll definitely come up with a conversation. Don't worry, we definitely gonna have somebody have something to talk about and chop it up about. But man, appreciate everybody to come through here. Appreciate all the love. You hit the like button already. Make sure you hit the like button right now. And shout out to y'all that hit that like button. Shout out to y'all that came through. Definitely appreciate the love. Make sure, hey, we still in the race to get 6,000 subscribers. You know what that means. Tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend, tell another friend, tell some more friends. They could tell some friends, and they tell some friends and put more game to the channel. Let's the channel growing and growing and growing and growing. Really, really appreciate that. Like I said, definitely appreciate all the love. Everybody that came through today. Hey, like I said, hey, we on a different time in Houston, so y'all be well. We on a different time in Houston. Hey, it's about to get real scary out here for the other teams. Not for us though. We know we doing out here in H Town. You know what I'm saying? We know what we doing. We know what we doing. I'm saying just get get a little saying get a little. Y'all know what we doing. Like y'all already know what we doing. It's about to get real scary for the rest of the teams out there. And appreciate everybody that came through here. Appreciate all the love, all the everybody that commented, everybody hit the like button. Definitely appreciate that. Hey, more videos gonna be coming. Make sure we gonna be live once again on Friday. Like I said, probably around probably around 8 o'clock on Friday. I ain't gonna be as late at 8:30. Probably Friday. It might even be 7:30. Who knows? I'm gonna do a little bit early on Friday. So I'm gonna do a little bit early on Friday. So make sure y'all tune in and y'all be well, man. Hey, make sure you keep your eyes and your ears open. We it's going down in the city. Like, subscribe if you haven't, comment below if you haven't, click that bell, get more videos. I holla.